Guys, thanks for your time. Wondering what the interaction has been with Gio, what the body language has been, and if you've seen anything different in his approach, attitude, any observations, I guess. Thanks.
You want to take this one, or?
You can take it.
Okay. I mean, first interaction for me, I got in a day late. Last night I had a lovely time playing golf with Gio and Joe and Brendan in our downtime. But other than that, in training, he's looked really good, looked pretty sharp. Spoken to him, he feels like he's in good health, feels confident, and that's about it. Like same as everyone, he's looking really ready to work.
Great. If Matt, you could add anything.
Yeah, from what I've seen, he looks great. He's working really hard on the pitch, and for all purposes of the media, seems like everything's behind him. So, as we go on, we'll look to hold him to that standard. And but he's been a joy to be around.
I noticed, Jed, I didn't say who won playing golf yesterday.
Me and Gio lost.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, guys, thanks for doing this. Question for each of you. Antonee, the last time the full group was together, you're at the World Cup. It's the end goal. It's the biggest tournament there is. And the game on Friday, is going to be on a field in Grenada. Big difference. How do you get up for these games, these two games? And for you, Matt, Zach's back in now. What's that been like? And what do you have to do to hold on to the number one job that you won before the World Cup? Thank you.
I'd say, as great as the World Cup was and how good we all felt about it and how good we felt we did, it's kind of went away now. We don't dwell on the fact that we've been to a World Cup and it's kind of the end of the journey. It was the start for a lot of us. So now it's looking forward to trying to retain trophies in the summer, and that starts with getting 2 wins this camp. So, you don't need an excuse to get up to anything or get up for anything, any additional motivation than being called up and representing the badge, or the crest. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, for me, it's been, Zach and I have a good relationship. We have tremendous mutual respect for each other. It's been nice to be back in camp with him and just chit-chatting and catching up. And then in terms of keeping the number one shirt, I'm not the type of person that ever feels like, I'm the out-and-out number one. So I just have to continue to work hard when I get my opportunities to play well, and every time I can put the crest on, put my best foot forward, top performances, and just keep going in that regard. So I always have that same mentality that you need to earn things. They're not given to you.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael. Matt, to that point a little bit, how do you think your rhythm is at the moment, given that your playing time at Arsenal has been a little bit limited of late?
Yeah, obviously it's not ideal not playing week in and week out, but I think as a person, I've had many conversations with all of you, and you guys understand the standards that I hold myself to, and that includes training. So making sure that I'm ready to go every single day in training, making sure that I'm showing up and putting my best foot forward and being ready and preparing myself mentally like I'm playing in the games on the weekend. So I feel good. I feel ready to play. If the coach chooses me to play here in these games, I'm going to go out there and compete the way I know how to. And from there, that rhythm will develop.
We'll go to Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks so much, Michael. This is for both of you guys. Obviously, there's an interim manager right now, and I know you guys probably want to try to push some of the momentum forward of what you did at the World Cup. How are you managing that and just kind of the mindset of the group now in these Nations League games? And how quickly do you hope to have a full-time manager in just to be able to start to feel like you're moving forward toward 2026 with the person who's going to be guiding you there? Thank you.
Obviously Ant's been with us for a while. He kind of knows, how the team plays, and he knows how to set us up. There's a couple new players, who haven't been in his camp as much as some of the other lads, but just trying to integrate them and trying to get them to understand, what we're about, our philosophy, how we play. And I think Ant's very capable of doing that in terms of, having an interim manager, getting a full-time coach. It's something that's completely out of our hands. So, it's not really something we're thinking about. We're just thinking about going out and putting in all the effort we can in training. And when it comes to game day, we're all really competitive athletes. We want to win games as much as possible. So, going forward, it'll be nice when it's settled, but it's not really something that's on the front of any of our minds, I don't think.
We'll go to Seth Bertelny from USA Today.
Hey, this one's for Matt. Matt, you spoke earlier in the season about kind of how you felt you could take your game forward at Arsenal, even if you weren't necessarily playing week in, week out. I wonder now, as you get closer to the end of your first season, kind of how you reflect on how your game has improved and now that you've had the chance to play in a few games as well, and kind of how you view your future at Arsenal if maybe you aren't playing week in, week out, let's say, moving forward into next season as well.
Yeah, it's hard to speculate on the future. So I'll answer about how far I've come. I think the move to Arsenal is what is part of one of the biggest reasons I was able to get the #1 shirt at the World Cup. It changed the perspective around me and what I was able to accomplish in MLS, and it put me in a better league around better players. It made me faster, made me make decisions more quickly and better, and then it put me up against top competition every single day. So I think I improved tremendously as a goalkeeper. I think also in terms of life experience, having a kid abroad, being alone away from family has been tough, but also a tremendous learning experience as well. So I've grown and gained perspective in that area of my life as well. So it's been an amazing time. And then obviously having the World Cup, proving to myself and to others that I can play, at the Premier League level and at the highest level that there is, was really important for me. So I think I'll look back on this first year as a massive success.
We'll go to Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hi, guys. This is for Matt. Matt, I don't know if you've interacted with him or crossed paths with him maybe during preseason around Arsenal, but I was wondering if you've gotten to meet or be around Folarin Balogun and if you could share if you guys have paid attention to, I guess what I'd say is like a keen interest in possibly recruiting him away from England to join the USMNT.
I've spoken to Flo. We obviously had most of our preseason together, and I knew going into it that he had some roots in the U.S. So him and I developed a relationship pretty quickly, and yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it. We check in on each other here and there, and yeah, he'd be a great addition to our national team. I think he's done really well, obviously, for his club on loan, and we'll see. The decision has to come from the heart, because it's not necessarily an easy task always to come and play in these Concacaf games, and it's a tough region at times. So for us, we'd be really grateful to have him, but his heart needs to be in it.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Yep. Thank you, Michael. And this one's for Matt. When you're a player and you get these international breaks, if you're in a situation where you're not playing well, your team's not playing well, sometimes it's a nice place to kind of juice you up and refocus and things like that. But when you're in a team that's doing what you guys are doing right now and pushing for the Premier League, I'm sure it's a sort of different vibe as you guys kind of all go your separate ways. So what's the mood like, at Arsenal as you guys kind of go into this international break, and how are you guys going to kind of try and keep the momentum once it's all over?
I think no one's looking at this international break sort of as an escape or as a little bit of time away. I think the message from our manager and the message from amongst the players is very clear. You're going away to keep fit, to keep playing at the highest level. Obviously, stay healthy, treat your body right, and come back firing on all cylinders, because we're definitely not the only club that's obviously on pause right now. So we need to come back with the right mentality and ready to continue to win games. And I think that we have such a good nucleus at the club that won't be an issue.
Next will be Lander Sherlockins.
Hey guys, Question for both of you. Obviously, and as a few of your teammates have said as well, you guys don't get to make the hire for the new national team head coach. But I wonder how you feel that Greg did in the last cycle in the job. And Christian has spoken on how he felt that would happen to him afterwards was unfortunate. I was wondering if you have feelings about that as well. Thanks.
I mean, personally, I think he did a very good job in creating a style of play that suited a lot of the players that he brought in. Getting a lot of talented players together. Obviously, quite young guys like Eunice and stuff started when he was manager, and then kind of getting us all on the same page, bringing us to the World Cup where we didn't do as well as we'd like to, but we still did I think very well. Did put in performances that we were all proud of. And, like you said about what Christian basically said about things being unfair or what happened to him, yeah, it's kind of, a situation that's off the pitch and unfortunate having past things brought up, especially when it was things that had been dealt with and could influence in his life now. So on a personal level and a professional level, it's unfortunate. I just hope it all gets resolved on his side really quickly and that he can move on from it.
Yeah, I feel similarly. Obviously, it is unfortunate, and I think everything that he built from the outside, it's not as clear the connection that he created amongst the group, the selections, the like-mindedness of people, and it became like this culture that sort of policed itself in a lot of ways. Which I think it can be pretty rare when it comes to national teams getting together. So we're grateful for all the work that he put in and did, and I think we really did thrive in the end of it all underneath his during his tenure, and we'll see what the future holds.
Next will be Sophie Nicolau.
Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. Thanks for your time. A question for both of you regarding the opportunity to come back to the United States. For Matt, who's going to be coming back to the United States for the MLS All-Star Game. And then for both of you as well, in terms of, playing in Europe and enjoying your football and what it means to kind of be able to put US soccer on the map a little bit as well. And Matt, you mentioned, throwing a lot at you guys here, but just soaking up the time that I have with you, is you're always trying to prove yourself, it seems. You mentioned having to prove yourself at Arsenal. You're the backup goalkeeper, making your mark for US, in goal for US as well. Do you get tired of that? Has Mikel helped you mentally deal with all of that as well?
First of all, I'm really excited about coming back to play in the All-Star Game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and great. It would be really cool to have been on one side of it and then come back and play on the other side of it, so to speak. In terms of always trying to prove myself, no, that's who I am. I definitely do not get tired of that. The day I can look back on my career, I don't want to think, what if I cared a little bit more? What if I felt like I needed to prove myself a little bit more? Coming from my footballing background, my soccer background, I think that's the way I always have to be because I was so late to the game. I can never think that things are good enough because I understand that they can always be better. This guy was dribbling a ball around before as soon as he could walk, and I was learning how to take my own goal kicks when I was 20 years old. So I always know that there's room for me to improve and to grow, and I think that I have the potential to, be a really, really elite goalkeeper in the world. But I just need to continue to work and prove it, and that comes with every day.
Nice.
Thanks, Bill.
In terms of playing in Europe, obviously I grew up in England, so just getting to the stage where I'm playing Premier League football week in, week out now, it's always been a dream of mine. Especially this season with how Fulham have been performing, I've been thoroughly enjoying my football. It's been an amazing year. Got to win a lot of games, play in the World Cup. Everything's been amazing. And you look at where US soccer's coming, and a lot of players are sort of drifting to kind of expand their horizons and come over to Europe and play in top leagues to try and compete with the best in the world. And that's just growing the game, both for our team, and it'll obviously grow the standard and the interest of people playing in the States. So I feel like the only way is up for our team going forward, and it's just more and more exciting every year.
That was a good answer, too.
Thank you.
Really good answer.
We'll go to Nathaniel Rivas.
Hey guys, this is Antonee Robinson with Channel 6 here in Orlando. Every time you guys come to Orlando, Florida, you guys come out with a win, you guys are undefeated. What makes Orlando kind of special like that? And then with both of these games, what's it going to take to really put a nice product out there on the field?
First of all, I hope you didn't just jinx us with
it's
that.
pressure.
I know. But no, we love coming to Orlando. It's a great setup for us, in terms of the training camp and all that. It's really, really sound. And, playing at Exploria Stadium, I hated playing here when I was in MLS. I think the fans are really passionate. They're really close to the field. The pitch is perfect. And, yeah, it's just a fun environment and atmosphere to be in. So on top of that, I think these two games, I think the beginning of camp was really important for us because, it's like that refocusing and setting up our goals, leading into 2026. Without the World Cup qualifying process, it's looking a little bit different than it has in years past. And it really starts with these games. And we know that our recent record in away games in Concacaf hasn't been great. I think we've only gotten one win in maybe our past 7. Don't quote me on the number, but I think it's 7. So we know it's not a layup. So we're going to go down to Grenada and fight for it and go for the win, and then come home and play in front of our home fans again for the first time in a long time, and really look forward to it. Grenada.
We certainly hope you didn't jinx us either, but since you brought it up, the U.S. record is 5-0-0 at Exploria Stadium, and Matt was correct. Only one win in the last 7 matches away in CONCACAF. Next is Megan Swanwick.
Got that, but can't pronounce Grenada.
Thanks, Michael. My question's for Antonee. Actually, 2 questions, if that's okay. Antonee, you had a lot of people rooting for you guys in Fulham when you were in that FA Cup match against Manchester United, and there was a pretty devastating collapse at the end there. Can you talk about what's going through your head as those red cards come out and you're down to 9 men in that game? Is all hope lost? And what does it mean to the team to be now missing, I think, Mitrovic for an extended period of time now? And then a second question. It looked like on social media, maybe Greg Berhalter had come to see you and Tim in person in London. Were you guys able to catch up with him when he was in town? Was that indeed Greg Berhalter? And did you guys get lunch or dinner or anything?
So to answer the first question, the FA Cup one, it was a little bit strange because I seen it all the commotion, everyone like sprinting towards the ref, and I never wanted be the one getting in trouble, so I just kind of hung around the penalty spot. And then, 30 seconds later, Tim walks up to me and says, "Hey, we've had 3 red cards." And I was like, "What are you on about?" And it was, Willie Mitro and the gaffer had been sent off. So, it was disappointing knowing that, they've got a penalty and the game's just going to swing now. Especially when, it was probably one of our best performances recently against a very good side, and we felt like we were pretty comfortable in the game up until that point. And then, the loss of Mitro, it'll be unfortunate, especially after he's scored and it looked like he was kind of getting his confidence back up to then be sent off. I don't know what the extent of that suspension is going to be. Hopefully it's not too long because I don't condone what he's done at all, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it was. And then the second question, Greg came to a couple of our games, came to the Brentford game and the Arsenal game, which we lost both them games, so I don't want him to ever come watch us again. Caught up with him after the Arsenal game, and it was just a little quick chat before I had to go and do some media stuff before return. I had like 5 or 10 minutes with him, but just general chatting about London, chatting about the game a little bit, and his time over, and it was he seemed pretty happy and good spirits, and that was it really.